So I asked ChatGPT to come up with some research proposals for us to evaluate.
Okay.
And we're going to do that right now.
So wait, are we like an NIH study section and ChatGPT is the one writing a grant?
Yeah, sort of. These are not all biomedical related, but yeah, essentially. We're going to rate them on 3 different factors. Okay. So you might want to write this down. Significance.
Okay,
which just means how important is this question? Innovation. Okay. So how creative, how innovative is this idea? Is it a novel idea? And finally, want to rate the research proposals on experimental strategy. Yeah. So basically, is this experimentally feasible, right? Does completing the experiments actually answer the question? And is the experiment soundly designed?
All right.
Okay, ready?
Let's hear them, yeah.
So, first one.
Go ahead.
Could glow-in-the-dark plants serve as natural streetlights? Okay. So the experiment here is genetically engineer plants to express luciferase or some like bioluminescent chemical protein and test light output in different soil and light conditions. And the insight is it's a greener alternative to electric lighting on the streets at night.
Interesting. Let me hear your thoughts.
I think it's fantastic, right? Yeah. So if you place all the streetlights with these plants that glow in the dark, 1, it would look really cool.
Pretty freaking cool.
And 2, save electricity.
The kids would love this.
Yeah, everybody will love it.
Yeah, imagine being a 5-year-old and you're like, oh my God, there's like a glow-up treehouse at my house.
Imagine being a firefly. Yeah. And
well, you might think there's a giant firefly out there. You can try and mate with it.
So I think significance, I'm going to say 5 out of 5.
Okay.
In terms of significance.
Sure.
Innovation. So I actually looked into this. This is not a new idea. Companies have been working on this for a while. I think the first bioengineered plant that glow in the dark came out in 2017. Okay. I think it was a petunia. There's a company called LiveBio that does this. So innovation, I say maybe a 2 out of 5.
Okay.
And then experimental strategy, I'd say, they didn't really give much detail. So 3 out of 5.
Yeah. That's fine. I agree with pretty much all of that.
Next research proposal from ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Can you trick your brain into liking broccoli using VR, virtual reality? Okay. The experiment here is you feed someone who's wearing like a VR headset some broccoli, but make it look like a chocolate cake to them in the VR.
Okay.
And then you measure their taste perception, their facial EMG, and also post-experimental rating of the broccoli they just ate. Okay. So the insight here is you're exploring the multisensory integration and cognitive biases in taste perception. Right. So basically, it sounds like what they're wondering is, we know about how smell and like mouthfeel, things like that contribute to huge taste, right?
Big.
But here they were asking how does visual perception contribute to taste? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, the main question is sound, right? Yeah. I mean, like you pointed out, visual perception does play a big role. This is why chefs, they take a lot of pride in dressing up dishes and whatnot, right? Otherwise, we could just eat like Soylent Goop every day. I think significance of this is, I'm going to trash this.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, go ahead.
It's pretty low, man. 2 out of 5. Because my first problem is not everybody hates broccoli. For example, I love broccoli. Mm-hmm. Okay, broccoli's pretty good.
Yeah, but this is asking, can you improve broccoli? A lot of people do hate broccoli.
Do you think majority of people hate broccoli?
Meaning greater than 50%? Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Or not hate, fair enough. Not hate, but not like.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, it doesn't have much taste to it. The texture is weird. Fine, I got it. But I still give it 2 out of 5. Okay. Significant. Okay. I just don't think it's a big issue. Okay. Innovation. This is like an idea that was probably cooked up by someone who was high on a teenager who's high could come up with this. So I think from innovative value, I'd give it like a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Experimental design. It's not really clear to me how, like, what kind of visual things they're going to put in the VR. How measuring facial EMG is going to even help them determine perception of taste. I'm going to give them like a 2 out of 5.
Okay. Yeah. I disagree with you on this one. I think.
Okay. All right.
Significance, I'd say it's 4 out of 5. I think it's significant. If you improve, how we perceive food to taste, that's very important. And doesn't, there are wider applications to this than just broccoli.
Okay.
In terms of innovation, 5 out of 5. Very innovative. Very innovative.
Wow. Okay.
VR, very hot. Very hot.
I know you want a VR set.
Just ask Mark Zuckerberg. Just ask him.
Just ask Mark, yes.
It's the future. So innovation, 5 out of 5. Experimental design, I agree. Yeah, the using facial EMG to measure whether people like the broccoli. What's it probably going to end up measuring is like surprise, right? Like someone thinks they're eating chocolate cake, but you hand them broccoli. They're going to have facial expression that, surprise facial expression. And that's what you're going to end up measuring versus someone who's looking at broccoli and eating broccoli.
Right.
Surprise or amusement rather than like or not like.
Right.
And then post-experimental ratings. We talk about this a lot when you're doing a psychology study. People in this study are gonna very quickly figure out what the purpose of the study is. Right. Yeah. You're showing them cake but feeding them broccoli, and that's gonna affect their ratings of the broccoli.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So experimental design, I'd say 1 out of 5.
Okay.
All right. Next research proposal from ChatGPT. Can people recognize their own face faster if it's photoshopped onto a potato? The experiment here is show participants their face on various objects, parentheses, potato, rock, toaster, and measure recognition speed. So how fast it takes for them to recognize their own face. Okay, yes. The inside is it probes facial recognition, identity perception, and absurdity tolerance. Okay.
What in the world?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe let's just tackle this one together. All right.
Okay, let's go. Yeah.
Significance. Yeah. I'm gonna say 1 out of 5. I don't see the. I think maybe some cognitive psychologists will find this interesting, but I don't really see the. Outside of academic interest. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just thought of a scenario where this could be problematic. If you're Mr. Potato Head yourself.
Yes. Okay. So for normal humans, not significant, but for Mr. Potato Head and Mrs. Potato Head, 5 out of 5 significance. Okay. Agree. Okay.
Or if you're like a rock type Pokemon, like Geodude. Or
yes. Or a toaster type Pokemon. I'm pretty sure that's a Pokemon that's just a toaster. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Innovation, 5 out of 5.
I agree.
I think we both can agree on that. Very innovative.
Yes.
No one's ever thought of this before.
No.
Experimental design, pretty good. Yeah. I mean, yeah, 4 out of 5. I don't understand why their hypothesis is potato is like the best out of the 3. That seems to be their hypothesis. Like people will recognize their face on a potato the best.
Well, you think maybe it's a joke because they have eyes. They're like, oh, faces have eyes. So, potatoes have eyes.
Maybe. That's a good thought. Okay. Next one.
Yeah.
Research proposal from ChatGPT. How magnetic can a grilled cheese sandwich become if you cook it next to a strong magnet?
Oh.
Okay. So the experiment is grill identical sandwiches with and without exposure to magnetic fields, and then test for any retained magnetism.
Okay.
The inside answers nothing useful, but it's weirdly compelling.
Okay.
Want to tackle this one together?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, Tirth, why don't you explain to the audience how magnets work?
I see why you threw this to me. Listen, I have very rudimentary understanding of magnets. Richard Feynman, one of the greatest physicists of all time, himself is a famous YouTube video where he's magnets, how do they work?
Do you have a Feynman diagram for magnets?
No, he didn't, unfortunately. But I'm sure he could create one if he was thinking about it.
So inclined.
Anyway, yeah. I don't know, man. They just work. It's just moving electrons that generate magnetic fields. And
yeah, exactly. Moving electrons. Yeah. And so each atom basically has a magnetic field because the electrons are moving. But what makes metals magnetic is their little magnetic fields for each atom can be
aligned in one direction.
Can be aligned in one direction, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're asking,
and then some of them can stay permanent magnets. Yeah. Versus induced. Yeah.
So they're asking if the atoms of the grilled cheese sandwich can be aligned.
Yes.
So that their magnetic fields don't cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So significance, we can tackle this one together. Significance, 5 out of 5. If it look, if this is true, this is breaking new ground in physics. 5 out of 5 for me.
Okay, this is on par with the Large Hadron Collider and the Higgs boson.
5 out of 5. Hey, they're both fishing expeditions.
Okay.
Am I right?
That's fair. Okay.
5 out of 5. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Innovation, 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, grilled cheese sandwich, could have picked something more innovative, I think.
Yeah.
Experimental design, 5 out of 5.
That I'll agree with you. They're doing the right experiment to test the question. Yes.
You want to do identical grilled sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Without next to a magnet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will propose a positive control too. They can make a fake bread of metal, fake cheese of metal, and then cook that next to a magnet too.
Just to test to see if the magnet they're using is working.
Yeah.
Good.
Exactly.
Very sound.
Yes.
Very sound.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.